Hello, Gwen. How are you?
I am highly blessed. Highly
Thank
blessed.
thank you. Thank you. I'm so blessed to have you on my podcast. Gosh, you and I met, it's been a month now, right? At the Zero
Yes.
Limits with Joe Vitale. And the weirdest thing is, everyone knows, all of my audience knows that my podcast is very organic and we just have fun, lots of education as you and I talked. And we were, my client and I were at the hotel, right? And then you and Camille came in, and then we just had this eye to eye contact. And then we sat at the table till like 1:30 in the morning. And it was
Yeah,
such
and
a
you had to
blessing.
leave like at 3:30. It's like,
I
Nancy,
did.
don't go to bed. Just get your stuff and go to the airport. Yeah. Yeah. And we really
I
should have
did.
stayed on down because we were so it was fun. It was
Yes,
like, I don't know, 3 hours went by in 30 minutes.
it did. It did. It was crazy, but we had such a great
Yeah.
time. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about a few things. I just want to list our topics, and then you and I are just have go in and start having fun here, okay? Well, our topics for my audience is the hidden link between energy and money. We're going to talk about the awaken, the banker within, raising your frequency to rewrite your life, how to break sacredcy of cycles, and the power of Ho'oponopono, which I'm so excited that I learned over when I met you and Joe. And then the future of personalized healing, when we're going to have another guest, Gwen. Super excited to have her. She will be coming in toward the end. And then the new paradigm of wellness and wealth. So, let's talk a little bit about your experience with being that I met you at the Zero Limit VIP. So tell me, how do you know Joe? Tell us a little bit of experience about the Zero Limit. Let's start there.
So I realized this weekend in a class that I've known Joe now over 20 years.
Wow.
Because it was 20 years ago, May, I did a class with Dr. Emoto with the
Mm-hmm.
water.
Mm-hmm.
So I have had a belief system for in my 20s that if it's worthy of me to go to, I should serve. So even though I was paying to go to Joe's events, I started serving.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, we're just going to bless you with it. And it was one of the smartest, best decisions I've ever done. I tell people, Joe is even though I'm an ordained minister, um, Joe's the one that taught me to minister, Nancy. He
Wow.
taught me because Joe stayed in the room and he loved on the people. And then when a lot of people don't realize, Joe hired a PI, a private investigator, because he didn't really know. No one knew who Lynn. They didn't even know if
Really?
the story was true. So he hired a private eye that actually took a good while to track down who Lynn. They didn't even know what island or where. Literally,
Really?
yeah, it's just a story we heard. Anyway, I so happened to get to be, and not so happened, and no coincidence, God ordained it. I was at the first event with Dr. Hu Lin in Austin. So when you watch the movie, that's me. I'm the blonde in the front row, and literally, you can see me tracking him. Watch through the whole movie, and I'll send it. It's now on YouTube. The first event we were there is on YouTube, and I literally, I'm glued to him. Joe asked me when we were filming, when did I really connect to it? And Nancy, it was that night, the first night. We still had another day to go, but the first night I went back and I didn't want to go to dinner. I wanted to go back and go in my room and be really quiet. And honestly, I laid there. I can remember the tears just dripping down the side because I wept.
Oh.
I realized with God right then, we do this, and it's none of that. It's this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's this.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really
Absolutely.
got, yeah, I was like, I am so sorry, God. I'm so sorry I am. I'm so sorry that we've taken what you gave us in love and we really turned it into to whip somebody.
Yes, and we take that for granted, and that's where it is how it's so important to be so grateful for everything that we have, right? And I always teach, I went over this with you, I teach with my clients is the minute you wake up in the morning is being so grateful for another day. And I remember when I first met you and we sat down, you sat right across from me, and when you were saying you had this light over you, and it was the weirdest feeling that I had in my heart. I felt like released. I felt powerful within, like,
I
the
see
most
it all
important
around you
thing.
now.
Oh, thank you. Where you have to, you can say you're grateful, you can say all these affirmations, you can pray, you can do all of that, but if you don't believe it internally, embody it, what happens? Can we talk a little bit about that, Deborah? Because you are so in tune with the frequency of that.
And I love how you even say gratitude, because the truth is we all say love, love, love. Listen, most people cannot connect with that frequency. Yes, it's the highest frequency word. It's not the highest frequency felt. Because how do you tell the woman that just got beat or raped that they usually hear within 10 hours of being beat or raped that they're loved, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
taken to a nice restaurant or something, but they just got beat. They just got
Yeah.
they don't understand love. I'm working with a young man right now. His wife is like, but he's this, da da da. Honey, he doesn't know what love is. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
can start with gratitude because everybody can be grateful. You
Mm-hmm.
can be grateful and touch your heart that you did open your eyes in whatever your position is. Did your eyes open? Because if your eyes
Absolutely.
opened, what an opportunity you have.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity. If there's an opportunity and there's a reason that they open, you got another opportunity. So I think we start connecting with the gratitude and then we can shift depending on where you are. That shift might take a little longer. When we work with frequencies, it moves way faster, right? Again, that mama whale calls her baby 8,000 miles away and
That's
it's
that.
instant.
Well said. Because that was my next question is, can you tell us a little bit, tell my audience a little bit about what is frequency? You know, um, you know, can we educate our audience of what that is and how powerful it is and how it changes or it could change our lives, right? And how does it bring you in the present situation when we go through different challenges? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and for someone, I don't want to take this in a negative stance, but there's such a community of people that we've been taught that frequency is some foreign spiritual
Yes.
religion. And
Yes.
I really want to come out and say, because as a minister, I assure you, some of the
Mhm.
issues that I've had, and really it's in my own community because there's a fear.
Mhm.
And I say the first scripture, and let there be light. The word let, by the way, there was no English back then, so come on.
Yes.
Breath, H
Uh,
in Hebrew is ha, life. Everything is a frequency. Your wall behind you, my shelf, is a frequency. My
mhm.
bird carries a frequency. And please don't let this freak you out. This should actually bless you. Think of the beautiful menorah candlestick or the gorgeous rainbow. Take that rainbow from the sky now and place
It's
it
beautiful.
sideways to your body. And it's exact red, orange, yeah. Every organ, call it whatever you want, call it a portal, because that's really what it is. It's a portal center for that area of the body. So
Mhm.
that area of the body, that frequency will work in that area.
Mhm.
We go by, I'm trying to make it really clear, and I'm going to show you. Here is
Please.
frequency. It's not magic, it's math. It's how we're created to move things. Now, please be still. Okay, I'm going to keep it as still as I can. And now, would you swing left to right? There you go. I want you to move left to right. Move quicker and show off. Go ahead and circle, circle, circle. Please circle. So all I'm actually doing is visualize, go ahead and circle large, swing, swing and arc. I'm not moving my hand. I promise you, I'm being as still as I
Yeah,
can. There you
I
go.
see
Show
that.
it off, show off, swing large, swing large. See, when we believe it, and that's, by the way, right? We had a great teacher. No matter what your belief is, Yeshua was a great teacher, no matter, again, your belief. I believe and I am. But he
Mm-hmm.
showed us the way. We're to walk on water and walk through things. We're to, we have the capability in our own bodies to heal,
To
no matter
heal.
what we believe.
Yes.
So
Yes.
those are frequencies.
That was a perfect example of what you just did. Perfect
So
example. Thank you very much. That because it is that the frequency, the energy is so powerful that that's where someone can walk into a restaurant. You could be sitting at the table and you see a person walk into, well, let me just do a prime example with you and I. Even though I saw you at the movie, at the VIP, the premiere, I saw you where I was like right next to you. We had an eye contact for a minute or so, and I'm like, oh my gosh, her dress is so beautiful. I was telling Elisa. And then next thing you know, you walk in and we have eye contact, and that is the energy, right? And how we can sense each other that I need to get to know you. Like there's something about you. And so we all have that ability, but sometimes we just disregard or we don't know what that is. Why do I feel that way? And then we just scratch our head and then we disregard it, right?
we're taught, truthfully, from children to disregard it. We're taught to not feel the feelings. I
Mm-hmm.
was born in the fight or flight mode, truthfully. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was, there was chaos. So I was born to suck it up, buttercup, keep it inside. And
Yes.
absolutely the opposite. And as we really learn the Ho'oponopono, it's really connect to the feeling. We're retraining people. Our emotions are there for a absolute guide road. It's the map.
Mhm,
It's the
mhm,
map to releasing illness, dis-ease in the body. It is the map to the happiness. And that flow, it should be a flow. It should not be that's an EKG. That's not a good thing. A good
mhm.
EKG is still this, right? I mean,
Right.
it's a good flow. So when you're in a flow, you can attract that. So remember, you do never, it will never. I pick this up, the moment I drop it, it's going to go down. If it went up, that's a miracle. That's a miracle. Telling
Mhm,
it what to do, that's not a miracle. That's math.
mhm,
The
mhm,
miracle is really when it's unseen. Well, we know our bodies are designed to do these things.
mhm,
We
mhm.
just been dumbed down too long and taught to ignore them. And
So
that's a
and let's talk a little bit about before we jump into one of my favorites, Ho'oponopono. Let's talk a little bit about manifestation. Some people believe that manifestation is not God. Manifestation is not like spiritual. It is like dynamic, like it's bad, right? You and I both know it's not. It's so very powerful. And how we were brought up, I know as I was brought up Catholic. My dad was going to be a priest before he even met my mom. We went to church, went to catechism, all of that. And then when we learned that, but it was so hard for me to really understand, God's source. And I don't want to get into too much religion piece of it, but we start to develop our own ways of thinking what works for us, what is out there. To me, God, universe, source. God made the universe. God made the source. He is the one. But can we talk a little bit about the manifestation and why you feel so powerful about that and how it goes, alongside with God? Does that make sense?
well, there's a scripture I love, and he says, write it down. Write the
Mm-hmm.
desires of what?
Mm-hmm.
He's specific. He didn't say the desires of your friend Mojo. He didn't tell me to
Mm-hmm.
write down Nancy's desires. What did he
Yeah.
say? He said, write the desires of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave me those desires, Nancy? How did
Right.
I come up with those desires? If that wasn't my agreement, and see, I believe that I'm here with a good, loving God. Now, my
Yes.
my worldly daddy, he was a good man, but he had some flaws. And listen, I have told my own son for many years, son, you need some counseling and therapy. My sister once said, why would he need counseling and therapy? Hello, I'm his mother. Enough
Right.
said. Let's just
Yes.
go on and get help, right? By the way, it doesn't mean it's your fault. There's a lot of
Hmm.
things placed on us.
Correct.
And I know I'm speaking to someone right now. It's not your fault, but it's every bit your responsibility. There
Well
comes a point
said.
where just just we can love on. I can't wait. There's one person that did rape me. I've already connected with one. I'm looking forward to meeting them again. And the reason is I want to hug them and say, I forgive you. Because they must be walking in some hell to think what you did and right. So when
Yeah.
we can walk in that total forgiveness, we're walking in something totally different. And the manifestation is he told me to write it down. And he also said, what I think about, I bring about. Well, if I think it, I bring it about. Then that means the I am must have created me to, but because he doesn't want me to be stupid, right? So he gave me a brain, think, and yeah, okay, that flows. Think, because what I think about, I create, I become.
That's right.
So I am the creator, I think.
Yep.
We've got to get past somebody wanting to keep us in slave ship just because they don't have the ability to release the religious spirit, because usually that's what it is. It's the number one spirit we deal with. It's not some of these Jezebel and all that. No, no, no. It's no. That's why you have all these different churches,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
We all
Hmm.
say, because at the end of the day, we most of us come back to that one to divine, to I am, whatever your word is.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and by the way, when we stop separating that you got to believe how I believe, at the end of the day, we might actually see that we couldn't believe the same,
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
right? If we stop and listen.
That's why a lot of the I am affirmations, right? Taking that power, taking that frequency, taking that energy and owning it, because me as a coach, you as a coach, helping people, like you could touch somebody and cure and help people, Deborah. And but if we don't believe and we don't allow and we don't take that accountability to do something for ourselves, no one else is going to come and help you but yourself. But it's got to start somewhere. And it doesn't mean you may not know 100% what that is, but take the baby steps. So if it is reaching out for, help, doesn't matter who it is. It could be a coach, it could be a counseling, maybe it's a really good friend that you can depend on. And you're the type of person that you just hold everything in. And on the outside, everyone looks, oh my gosh, you have the best life, but in the inside, you're completely broken. You're melting. You have this callus up. And can we kind of share a little bit about with my audience when we wake up in the morning and you're just not feeling empowered and fulfilled, Deborah, you feel stuck. And even in our space and what we do, we have those days, right? How do we get through that mindset? But can you give some suggestions or ideas of how someone can get through a challenging day?
A few things in my background, I don't know if you hear it. I have bird chirping. It stays on. YouTube stays on bird chirping. That
I
frequency
hear it.
is one of the quickest healing and balancing that you can have.
Mhm.
If you feel strife real quick, yes, you can put the 5 to 8 different frequencies on, but take it to something again. Nature brings you down. If you're in those moments, go ground very quickly.
Mhm.
Wherever you are, get those shoes off your feet. Go
Mhm.
stand in the grass. Get on the beach. Get on sand. Literally, if you can sit on the grass, get in there. But take that
Nature.
calm moment.
Okay.
Also, get out of bed. You already feel heavy. That's because you went to bed with something heavy. Put some
Mm.
frequency, put some wonderful things to listen to at night. I laughed with Joe. I said, yeah, I'm a single person right now. I said, Joe, you're the only man I go to sleep with because I listen to 432 to 0 most nights. Because
Yes.
432 is him playing, and I put it on loop. So in the background, I've got Ho'opono, and I've got them saying it, and I've got this beautiful soft guitar with the harmonica, and it's just gorgeous. So set again, you're the owner of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I call a boss a double SOB backwards, right? You are the owner of your life. Go in the restroom, go to wherever you are. If somebody cuts you off, if you're at work, don't allow, because you've got 17 seconds of a thought to come through. That first 17 seconds, take control. The second 17 seconds, what's Bible even tell you? Two or more come together, whoop, you're going to go into quantum. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're in that space, get up, go, force yourself to smile for over 3 minutes. Because the moment you hit 3 minutes, I do not care how depressed and bad you are. At 3 minutes, you just forced a chemical to come through. By the way, we're not giving any medical advice. I'm just telling you what the body will do.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
You put chemicals that start working in your body. So help yourself. Get fresh flowers, smell things, put things around you. Get constant negative news off the TV.
Yeah. Yes.
Take
And your cell phone.
control of your space. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
take control of your space. Take control of what comes in. And then start controlling the thoughts, because remember, your thoughts will create your emotion, which creates your physical. You don't get a grab on those thoughts, there's where the cancers, the dis-ease eventually comes in.
That is so powerful, because these thoughts, how we just talked about a few minutes ago, thoughts become things. And, you have these fears. Like, um, I even put I have it right here. I have a little tiny little waterfall that I got at Hobby Lobby, and just the sound of the water is so relaxing, and having music in the background when you're journaling, having soft music. If it's completely dead air, what ends up happening? All those limiting beliefs, the fears, the worries, that's all you're constantly talking about, and it's hard for you to focus. And so, I know for myself that, when I lost my mom when I was 17 of breast cancer, what do you think I think about? Oh my goodness, I'm going to die of breast cancer. I don't think about that all the time, but sometimes it pops up. But I can't sit there and think about it because it is so powerful, how your mind is so powerful. If you constantly think that is what you're going to get, as an example, and I'm not saying, yes, it's 100% you're going to get that, but talking about what we're talking about is if you're constantly thinking of that, that's what's going to happen. It's like The Secret. Remember The Secret? Rhonda Burns was talking about, that's how I identified, Joe and everyone else on there, is if the thoughts are become things. So whatever you're going to think of, you're going to get in a car and you're rushing through your day to go to work, and you're going to get in the car. What is going to happen? You're rushing, and you're going to run into what? Every red light. And when you run into every red light, people are going to start cutting you off. That's all you're thinking about. I'm going to be late. And then what ends up happening? You're late. You ran into every single red light and such. Those are just like examples, but that is the power of the mindset. So go ahead.
In that mindset, and I'm going to break a lot of chains right now off of people, because
Mm-hmm.
we have the mindset that mama had breast cancer, maybe grandmother had breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
What about great grandmother? What do you
Mm-hmm.
think great granddaughter thinks? Or doctors tell her. By the way, I heard this with Greg Braden over 10 years ago, and I absolutely agree. Breast cancer is one of the top forms of cancer. What do we tell women to do constantly?
Get mammograms.
And go do what? Check. You're
Yes.
constantly looking
Yes,
for
Deborah.
something. You're
Yes.
constantly looking, not please, I'm not telling people to stop AA. I think there's a greatness for it, but I do not want any of my personal family, which by the way would be humans, to constantly every day say, I am this. No, you are not. You are a human being. You are healed. You are healthy. You are wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
quit speaking these things in, but see, we're trained and then we're taught that's good. Kind of like
Yeah.
in my world of finance, we're taught match. No, a match. If I give you $1 and you give me 3 cents, I'm not gonna. You didn't match me. But we're taught.
Mm-hmm.
We're just taught to be dumbed down. No more. That ends.
Mm-hmm.
That ends,
Mm-hmm.
and we are shifting. This movie, The Zero Limits, is not. There is no such word as coincidence. It's a man-made word, because it will be a movement. Because the entire world is ready to shift to love. We're ready
Yes.
to quit competing. We're ready to help one another.
And it was such a powerful movie. It I think it touched so many, and even in the interviews after, even the people that had those limiting beliefs, and you answered a lot of the interview questions too, but and I'll never forget. But it was so powerful. Just it made you cry. You had this like relief, and then you had this like, wow, I I just learned so much that I can change someone's life if you believe it and you allow it to open a new chapter of your life. So I can't wait for it's going to come out in
September
September.
25th. And you want to talk about creating. It was a year before I even knew. By the way, I didn't know the movie was even being filmed in 2022. I had no clue. I didn't know till last year.
Mhm.
And God was already telling me, speak out working a project with Joe. A couple months later, he tells me another thing. I even emailed Joe to take him to lunch. And nope. Then he tells me another something. So I took each step. I put Joe's picture on my vision board. I didn't know why. I just knew we're going to supposed to do a project together. So I saw the Zero Limits. They had one opening left, not for an executive producer, by the way, just an opening. I
Yeah.
end up filling it out. And of course, it was mine because God had already prepared. So when I saw it, I knew it was mine. There wasn't
Mhm.
even a doubt if it was mine. And by the way, there was a large cost associated with it. Some of my friends said, oh, it can't be a real thing. They're charging for it. I said, nah, they're wise. It's business. They're doing
Yes.
what Rhonda did. That was a success. Follow success.
Yes.
Follow
Yes.
success. And by the way, my I am, my divine, my God's not going to tell me to start preparing to do something with him. And then because there's a dollar involved, stop.
That's
No,
right.
don't let somebody else, just because he didn't tell some of my closest friends, because it wasn't their deal. You got to stay focused. He
Mhm.
told it to me, stay focused. And thank God,
Mhm.
because I wouldn't have met you if I hadn't. And you're gonna be my lifelong friend. We're gonna go play in Pismo Beach, and
Yes, I can't wait. It's
you can
going to
go
be so
shift this
fun.
world in love and move with a movement of love.
Yes, and our women's retreat. So excited. Let's talk about Ho'oponopono, the power of Ho'oponopono.
Uh,
Share.
the quick power is I'm here. So suicide
Mhm.
didn't take me because I love me. Now
Mhm.
that was the hardest to get to. I got the I love you and yada yada. When you hear a story of a man that closed down not just some people that were ill, the most dangerous psychiatric ward in America. These people were 100% shackled to their ankles, to their wrists, and 100% spit bagged when they moved them anywhere. It was very, very dangerous. It didn't even look, smell anything like the same place when he left. And by the way, the only reason he left is the psychiatric ward, the most dangerous psychiatric ward. These are people that, listen, they raped and beheaded a 1-year old.
What?
They're healed now. They all these medications. Over 50% of the people were off of medications. They weren't being spit bagged and handcuffed and shackled anymore. They can start living a life. And by the way, just because so many people were not in a physical prison, I'm going to tell you right now, over half of this world is in a prison. We're in our own
in their own
psychological.
prison. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Some of finances or illnesses, whatever. It's a prison. And the Ho'oponopono can break them like this. I've seen it. I've seen people, Gwen comes on to tell the story. I watched her take a woman back, and I'm telling you, in less than 5 minutes, that woman lost over 20 pounds, right? She had to grab her pants. We helped her leave my place. Someone said, thank you for helping her. I said, thank you for helping her. I didn't want to get sued. I thought she was going to fall. Her britches were falling down. I mean, the woman by the next morning had released over 30 pounds.
So how is that? So let's talk about what Ho'oponopono is thank you, I love you, right?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, thank you, I love you, right? Am I saying that right? No.
Yeah,
Oh my
there's
God, we were
4.
talking about it.
No. There's 4, and you're perfectly fine. You don't have to do an order.
Okay. Okay.
And you
So
there might be a moment where somebody's so stressed off, and your normal thing is to blow up, and you're working to take responsibility and not allow that blow up in what you're physically doing to your body. So maybe all you can do is, instead of you blah 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 blah, maybe all you can do is love, 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 love. But you're leaving off the MF. So hey, way to go, because you're just sticking with love.
right. So that was the I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, right?
Yes.
I said it.
Yes,
I don't know why sometimes I'm constantly saying it and saying it and saying it, and sometimes I want to say it a different way, like it's telling me to say it a different way. But
you should feel what I say, should go with your gut innate.
okay.
Because those are the words that probably that frequency of that word right now will resonate more to you. So for me, I'm going to tell you, Spirit is telling you, go to that flow. Just like I would have never thought a word innate would heal me and heal so much off. So go with the flow. If you feel like saying, thank you, I'm sorry, go with what you feel. And again, I believe in you, but that's just my add-on.
Gwen is here. I'm going to let her in, but we need to finish a little bit and educate what really Ho'oponopono does. I'm going to bring in Gwen. Hi, Gwen.
Hey, my Gwen.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. We were just talking about Ho'oponopono, and we're educating the audience about that. And so we kind of wanted to have Deborah tell a little bit more about what does Ho'oponopono do, and the words of I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. What does that do, and why is it so powerful?
It's all about going inwards. So Gwen never has in nearly 25 years, but she irritated me that day. It's not that I go, oh, I'm thinking of Gwen all of a sudden and I love you, I'm sorry, because no. If there was something in Gwen, or that person cut me off, whatever it triggered in me, whatever feeling I feel, that's what I'm clearing on or erasing on. And it's really upward. This is vertical with you and your God. I am the divine, how you relate to him. Remember when Huglin was doing it, he didn't want to know that this person raped, then beheaded and killed a 1-year-old child. So he covered that up. And when he would see just the picture and just their name and where they were born, whatever he felt, because we're all connected, right? We're all connected. It's not just that well. We're all connected. And when we really get that we're humans, we're in one species, we're connected. So when we start clearing that feeling in me, what I shift around me. And by the way, even though I've done the Ho'opono for so many years, I still didn't go really, honestly, Nancy, deep into me.
Mm-hmm.
When I went in working with Gwen a little, look, there's been times I'm embarrassed to tell people I've known my best friend for so long because I was so overweight and I'm not looking healthy. And but here's my best friend, the all natural doctor, right? Cheers this hero.
Mm-hmm.
When I started really taking the I love you and stop focusing on helping everyone else and go take care of those. If the word inept is in there, needs healing, go look in. And I've released over 40 pounds just this year. And the
Wow.
flow is so much easier.
Wow.
So it's really those simple words in any order taken to the divine, because it's really about healing you, releasing you. And those other people just seem to clear up around you.
What would be the first step someone can take to shift their vibration when they're feeling stuck? And either Gwen and or Deborah, you can answer, whoever, both of you.
I'm
But
going to answer, then I'm going to let Gwen. It's 17 seconds. We talked about it Saturday. You have 17 seconds when a thought comes in to anchor that thought with another 17-second thought. And then by the time you're at 68 seconds, doesn't matter who you are and how you think, you're now putting chemicals through your body. And Gwen,
I'd say that it's awareness. Like a lot of people don't even realize what their self talk is. I've had so many examples of clients who, think they're positive, think they're optimistic, but their self talk and their self thoughts is the opposite of that. It's almost like they're expecting something to go wrong. I think the two biggest things is for me that I see with clients, because it's been 25 years, it's just awareness that the way your mind and where it's going and what it's thinking is kind of stinking thinking. It's kind of like you don't even realize you're doing it. It's like just that look in the mirror and seeing something you don't like. I mean, that's not optimistic.
right.
The fact that someone needs Botox because they're trying to keep up with someone else on social media, that's not really loving yourself, right? It's little
Mm-hmm.
things that people do that they don't even realize anymore is kind of anti-self, which is what autoimmune disorders are. But I think that we're kind of scripted from childhood. And first of all, we got to get the awareness that I talked to so many times of people, like Deborah's recent word was inept, but sometimes a word will come up, which, well, I'll just tell my own story. So I was working and learning German new medicine, and I don't think I'm a stupid person. Like, I don't consider myself stupid. I don't refer to myself like that. But someone else told me that I was thinking I was stupid, like in the training for German new medicine. And what was interesting is it wasn't until she said that I was at that current time in my mind, not to other people, but in my mind saying how stupid I was because I had just went through a divorce, how stupid I was for marrying that guy, how stupid I was for spending money on him and the kids and the house. And so it's not that I thought I was stupid, but like, for instance, that's neck. That's going to affect your neck. So the awareness is someone else had to tell me, because I was thinking that all day long, every day, while I was, writing checks to the divorce attorney and just going through the drama. And I don't think of myself like, I learned through NLP that we have to be super aware of what we're thinking. Another awareness just for myself that's kind of funny that I did learn through learning NLP, because I was going through it with a good friend, is I used to say a lot, something makes me crazy. Like that person makes me crazy. That situation makes me crazy. I'm going to go crazy. Well, what it realize is I'm the one that's going to end up in the crazy house, right? If I keep thinking just a simple comment it's the same comment like when people say, oh, when I eat a piece of bread, it goes right to my butt. Well, guess where you gain weight? It's going to be in your butt, because you're already manifesting that, because you're going to keep eating that bread or that donut or that cheesecake or whatever with the thought that's going right to my ASS. And, and people that say and think those things constantly throughout the day and don't even realize that they're doing it. It's just the way they think. And so the second thing I see the most is people stay in bad situations too long with every excuse under the sun. Yep. So it is really hard to fix yourself or fix your emotions or get out of the script when the environment hasn't changed. You know, the girlfriends complaining about their husbands every time you see them, your husband being critical or judgmental, or let's say racist or whatever, your kids being drama kings and queens and having entitlement issues. You know, it's really hard to maintain integrity when you're alone, much less when you're in an environment like your job or wherever, where you're just bombarded with negativity. And people know this, like, you know, like, let's say you never cussed in your life and you're around someone who cusses a lot, you start cussing.
You're going to start cussing. Yes.
You know, it's just what you do. If you never smoked or drank before, but you, let's say, marry someone who's a drinker and a smoker, it's pretty likely you're going to take it on. You know, you're going to do it also, because it's, you know, if you're best friends in high school, people in high school are very influenced by what their peers are doing. Even if they were raised in a great house and really great parents, but their best friend is trying some marijuana, you know, sneaking some cigarettes, guess what they're probably going to do? Right. So I think that it's awareness and it's environment, and making sure that that around you is clear, even if it means breaking relationships or friendships or whatever, to make sure that you can stay in that state that you want to stay in, you know, which is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. Look at all the media and stuff around us. It's just like negative and divided all the time. We have to be really strong, or we have to shut that down.
That's like, right.
Completely shut down. So that's my opinion about what the hard things are, is just the awareness and the environment, and having the guts to make the change to get that out of your environment.
And that's tough.
I want to add, she talked about, when we talked about me having a really breakdown a couple of weeks ago. I just bombarded. And what came up, and I would have never known that, Nancy, that word inept. I think I'm one of the most positive people there are. I wake up, I know the system, I do these things. Yet there was this core word, inept. So when Gwen ran me on the machine, and again, and she'll talk about the new vision, I'm so thankful, because that word came up in my energy. So when we talk about our energy field, when we can click a button, and she does a special at normally $75, I'll put a plug for you, Gwen, for $35. And I'm telling you, it will read your mail. But without that done, where would another 10 years of working on myself?
Right.
Because I didn't know I even felt this. I run multiple businesses. I run a financial company. I work with high-dollar contracts. I talk with people. I'm talking with a guy that we're looking to save him just $20 million a year in taxes. That's not what he makes. So to think that the word inept was my trigger.
The cure. Yeah. You know, Gwen, you mentioned something when you said how you're feeling, you know, like, you know, feeling bad about yourself for making mistakes or what have you. And we learn from that. But you said something about it affects your neck. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So most emotions affect a body part, like one way or another. I can do the whole body, but the neck is intellect, feeling dumb or feeling stupid. And it's not necessarily that you are stupid. It's like, like I said, my example was you feel stupid about something. I think in all of our lives, we probably have something we can say we felt stupid about. But the problem is, the funny thing about that story was, I was taking a German new medicine class, and I had a CAT scan done. And the master of German new medicine is Isadora. She's in Canada. And through the class, you get a CAT scan, and she looks at your brain, and she sees all these white circles, which are your emotional dramas and traumas. And that maps to body parts that manifest into, you know, many health conditions. And so she kind of looked at my CAT scan, which I thought was super interesting, because she didn't know me personally. And she kind of pegged my whole life story with health, you know, stuff I'd been through. But the funny part was, she said, are you having a neck issue? And I was like, no, like, after she'd already pegged everything else correctly. And I said, no. And I was kind of like, don't put that on me. I don't do anything else. And she goes, well, this is a recent conflict and it's about feeling stupid about something. And it's coming, you know, it just hasn't manifested in the physical body yet. And like I said, I was going through this divorce. So anyway, about 2 or 3 weeks later, this was like 10 years ago, I woke up and my had, you know, what you think of crick in your neck. You know, I went to the chiropractor a few times. It didn't help. And then I was like, uh-oh, this is what Isadora talked about. Then I started really examining where I was saying that. And since she made me aware of it, when I said it throughout the day, I caught myself and then I could sort it out. And then I said, okay, no more of that. No more of saying I'm stupid. It's over. No regrets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I tried to focus on the positive things that came out of that marriage, like my stepdaughters and my dogs. And there were some good things that came out. It wasn't all bad. So once I focused on the positive and stopped saying I felt stupid, that it went away. It just went away on its own. But the problem is most people don't know these things. So they just keep saying I feel stupid, or they keep blaming that ex-husband, or they keep in the story and they never get out of it so that they don't have a neck issue. So a lot of times when there's chronic issues, it's because the thinking hasn't changed. You know, they're still blaming somebody. They're still in their story. And I find a lot, and this happened with Deborah, actually, you know, we talked about it Saturday, but you know, with the word inept, you know, everybody kind of has their story. Like, I want to blame my mom. I want to blame my dad. I want to blame somebody because that's why I'm messed up. But in reality, what I find is that that's not really the case, because in her case of this anxiety and inept, and I'll just say the short version, Deborah, is it had to do with filling out a form. And she went into like panic mode over filling out a form. And logically, that doesn't make sense, right? You're like, why would there be so much over a form? And it wasn't like a form that had to do with, you know, I mean, it was an important form, but it wasn't like a life or death form. You know,
Yeah.
like she's like completing her will, which might have been a different issue. But you think back to that and you think of the word inept. Inept means, like, I even use dictionary.com. So I really understand the meaning of these words, because one single word can be so important. But inept is when you don't feel skilled or capable to do something. So to me, and it said it had to do with herself. It didn't have to do with parents. It didn't have to do with her upbringing. So that kind of made me think, you know, somewhere in her life, whether it was filling out a form at school or filling out a form for something, you know, someone, you know, the way I think of this is sometimes they're so small, you think, why are they causing such a big deal? Is she might have been chastised or criticized. You know, how many times have people said, you don't know what you're doing, let me do it, or they take the pen from you, or they tell you didn't do it right or wrong. And I shared the story with her. I went to the driver's license office last week, and I kind of pride myself on being complete with forms. And it was funny that Deborah was going through this too, because the lady kind of hands me back my form and makes me go back in line because I didn't put my social security number and something else on the form. I just completely missed it. And I was sitting there kind of laughing because of what was happening with Deborah, thinking, well, here's one of those things that could become a trigger had I been embarrassed, had it been in public, had it been some other thing, especially as a child. So it can be just such little things.
Triggers, yes, little triggers.
That become a track for your whole life, that then whenever you have to fill out a form because someone one time criticized you, and especially if it was publicly, that you go, okay, now I'm scared of forms because if I do it wrong, it's a, you know, it turns into this whole other thing that was way long time ago.
And it's so true. And I went to where I grew up in the city, and I went to go see a friend that I've been friends with her since second grade. And I drove by the elementary school, and this happened the other day. I drove by the elementary school, and what was the first thing that I remembered was the principal of that school, Mrs. Daniels. I'll never forget her. She was so mean that I remember as a kid, I always liked to dress up and do my hair and everything. And back then you wore white pumps. I mean, this was young. I was in 5th grade at this time. And it had this little tiny heel. And I remember she pulled me into her office. And back then you got away with getting smacked with that big wooden paddle. And she sat me down. She pulled out her ruler And she measured the heel and then called my mom and said that I was in trouble. You need to come pick up your daughter. She's not, she's not supposed to be wearing this. So what do you think that I drove by there. This was like 40 years ago, right? And then what's the first thing you fear of? So every time I put heels on, I'm no joke. Every time I put heels on, I think of Miss Daniels. And then I drove by the school, and that was the first thing I thought of was that, and that was a fear and a little worry, right? But I mean, this isn't anything that we go through, but this is how far it could take you back to where you're at right now in an adult stage. And it could you could do one or two things with it. You could focus on it and live in the past, or if it triggers for that quick second, like Deborah said, 22 or 17 seconds, switch it into something positive. And okay, you experience that, but don't stay stuck in it. And that is where most people live today in the society, in their own world. And Deborah and I were just talking about this, Gwen, is you have control of your life. You have to take full accountability. I always like to say you have control over the will, but everyone struggles with how to get through it. And I want to talk a little bit about your new vision and root cause of healing, and talk a little bit about what new vision is, so my audience knows all about Gwen and what it is that you do for healing.
Okay, so New Vision is an AI matching software. It's not necessarily a health scan. People want to put a label on it. It's actually AI matching software, which means if I put in your name, date of birth, and place of birth, and run a scan, which is what it's called, against a work set that I've created that maybe has 5,500 psychology and emotions, or there's probably about 1,200 flower essences, or different possibilities. The work sets are based on what someone's coming to see me for, because sometimes people want deep emotional work. Sometimes people want their headache to go away. But just like with your heel story, that may be really nothing and benign, but it could also be that every time you wear heels, I'm not saying this, I'm just saying, use an example, that you might have a headache those days because the heels is actually an emotional trigger that goes back to childhood. And people have tracks and triggers that are something they wear, a song they hear, a time of year, all these different things. But the problem is when something goes back to childhood or even teenage years, it's really hard to figure it out because people don't remember. You remember the story, but let's say you came to me as a client, and I'm just going to use headaches as an example, because headaches and allergies are hard to figure out because they usually started a long time ago and people don't remember what was happening at the time they started. Mm-hmm. So it's easier with a recent diagnosis, like a cancer diagnosis or something that you got diagnosed with like a month or two ago, than it is something chronic condition someone's had for 20 or 30 years. And that's where New Vision really shines, because there's lots of techniques out there. I don't know how much you know about these kind of things, but there's like body talk, and there's matrix energetics, and there's Bradley Nelson's emotion code and body code. And they all have like short lists that you're basically dowsing or muscle testing, basic emotions. And let's say there's 80 emotions. Well, New Vision's looking at 5,500 emotions. Like inept is not in any list that I know of that's a modality. So it would have never came up with that. It might have came up with I don't even think incapables on there. And that's kind of the problem with lists that are short, is that you're dealing with core emotions. But my experience is the core emotions isn't going deep enough, because to me, the anger is because of something. The sadness is because of something. The anxiety is because of something. You have to get to that something to get to the underlying cause to really make a dent. Otherwise,
put a Band-Aid on it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just like with psychology, people go talk to their psychologist for 20 years. Are they better? In my opinion, no. They've reinforced whatever the trauma or drama is, and they're still living in that same world of, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. So to me, it's not like being cleared. It's just being reinforced. And so I think there's a better way to do things. But anyway, since I'm not psychic, I'm intuitive, but I'm not psychic. I can't look at you and say, this is your word. This is your 10 words. So I depend on vision, and it goes into the depth. Like I have some psychologists that actually send me clients that say, I need help with this client because I'm not getting anywhere. Or they just want to speed up the process. Because you can, I've done psychology sessions in the past, like a long time ago. And looking back, I do feel like I wasted a lot of time and money in resolving anything, because I'm just talking, they're listening, they're interjecting here and there. But what if in 1 or 2 hours, I could tell you everything that's affecting you right now that needs to be addressed? That's different than, first of all, most people are focused on something they think is the problem and not the actual problem.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. The second thing is they don't remember maybe the principle and the heal story. I told a story Saturday about a girl, and this is a great example because it tells you how something so small can become such a big deal. I'm going to tell the nose story. So I had a client who came into me with face cancer, skin cancer. Her nose was almost gone from the cancer. And, I never know what's going to show up on a scan. But when I did the scan, it said this was related to her sister. I think it said, it gives me clues like sister, Christmas, and her age, like 13. And as soon as I said sister, Christmas, age 13, she was like, oh my God, I know what it is. I'm like, what? And she goes, when I was 13, my sister was 17, and her boyfriend gave me a pink stuffed elephant for Christmas. And I was so happy that he even acknowledged me, because she looked up to her big sister, but her big sister was kind of mean to her and a bully. And as soon as she opened the elephant, she was so happy.
I didn't.
But then within seconds, her sister said, oh, look, it has a nose like yours, about the elephant in front of the whole family and extended family. So that seems like such a small thing that siblings do to each other all day long. Like I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I lived through all kinds of physical and mental, stuff. So one comment about her nose, because of a pink elephant, she gets a nose job as soon as she turns 18 or 19 and saves the money to do it because her nose isn't good enough. Mm-hmm. Within 4 more years, she has nose cancer that's eaten away most of her nose. And they're waiting for the cancer to stop so they could do reconstruction. All because of her sister saying, look, you have a nose like this elephant. So we don't even all realize like how would you ever think of that? Like she had not even thought of this elephant thing and no way put it in connection to her plastic surgery and now needing reconstructive surgery. So we all have so many things going on that, that people have said to us that we maybe don't think about every day or don't think about at all. That's still like lurking back there. And I don't know. There's no other thing I know of in the world that can tell me things like that. Her nose cancer is because of age 13, Christmas, and her sister. Mm-hmm. So then you're getting into very specific things, because I do believe that all of our body parts and all of our health conditions, at least 90% of them, are because they're out in the emotional field first, and then they manifest into a physical complaint. But we're not taught as Americans or in Western medicine to think like that. It's not even considered by most people, but it should be considered by everybody. I'm the owner of the company, and I'm also a full-time practitioner. So I use it to determine what these little tracks and triggers are that need to be identified and cleared. Is if people want, a full appointment, they can go to my website, which is gwenfosternd.com. But also if they want a mini scan for $35, which just tells them the top 10 things they can do right now. It's not just focused on emotional, but it is focused on mental, emotional, physical, everything. They can go to newvisionusa.com, newvisionusa.com.
Deborah and I were just talking about that earlier, is like how we can literally manifest things in our lives with different diseases and situations. We take control over that. And obviously we don't have control over unexpected situations. We have to learn from those unexpected situations and continue to move forward. And when sometimes we're feeling high on the mountain and we're super excited and life is great and we have the money, the house, the everything that we want, and then something triggers, what ends up happening, you fall way back and try to figure out, oh, pointing fingers, this is why I shouldn't have done that, or why I shouldn't have trusted this person. So all these made up limiting beliefs start to affect us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that is so important of the power of the frequency. There was one question that I wanted to ask that we did not go over a little bit with Deborah, was the bold rulers and awakening the banker within. And because I feel like the money aspect of things is making us all go, I don't want to say all of us, I'm not saying everyone's going through it, but you see it on the news, you see it on social media, and I don't watch the news, but everything you pop up, if you're searching something, something pops up. And then what do? What's going on? You focus on that and it's negative. And then you start making up these things. Oh my goodness, that can happen. Or I can lose this money. How am I going to get this client? Where's this world coming to? And then people tend to just come out of their own beautiful shell of life and to become someone that they're not. And then they focus on doing things that they shouldn't, that doesn't fill their glass and make them happy and feel empowered. So, Deborah, can you talk a little bit about that?
So yes, truthfully, the number one block that is stopping us is not just from the outside. It's first our belief, and it's in the financial. It's the not good enough, not deserving. We're taught to be the servant, and that's great. At least the greatest is the servant. Yet we've got to turn our monies around. So a couple things. I teach CPAs, and I teach people how to shield their money. Sadly, our CPAs aren't taught the number one tax code and haven't been really taught the strategy in over 50 years. So if this were your bank account, if there were 10,000 in there and you remove 9,000, most people say you have 1,000 left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not when you touch the I am, because every time you go to God, he leaves you better than. See, go take that 9,000, go put it into your show, go buy shoes, go have fun.
That's right.
Because when you turn around the very next day with me and what we teach you how to do, and by the way, all the elite, all the presidents, everyone, including our ex-president, has multiple of them. In this account, the very next day, you're earning compound interest off of 10 grand. It doesn't recognize the 9,000 went out the door, because we're going to teach you how to leverage. It's called OPM. Mm-hmm. So the wealthy leverage their money, but they keep using it. And it's where you put it, and it's shielded. So we help people, and really it's about the tax codes. And no, not a CPA, but we have tax attorneys that work with us. So one, let's get you protected. How many people, you just said your mother had cancer. How many people, by the way, these numbers, but this is the truth. Cancer is up over 300%.
I know, it's terrible.
So if they have that, if they have life insurance, do they have to die to get a benefit? No, that's not life insurance. That's a legacy benefit. Let's give you things that, what if you had it? Let's give you the ability to take that living benefits for free and get to Germany. I tell you, anyone in my family or friends tell me today they had cancer, I apologize, every American doctor, not a chance and we're going to send my family to a doctor here in America. I'm sending them out of the country because I'm sending them where we can get them the help in the all natural ways. I'm sending them to Gwen. But we can't do that if we don't have the liquidity. No joke, I have liquid in my hand. The ability. So it's time, Nancy, that everyone that comes in contact with this become the owner of your own life.
Love it.
You were never created to be in slave ship, ever. When our physical bodies, our minds were not designed that. This is the best computer processor. Man has tried to copy this processor for how many years, Nancy?
Absolutely. And we can't figure it out.
Yeah, this is the computer. But this can't work until I decide what program I'm going to run through it.
Well said.
And sadly,
so
you've been taught, especially with monies, to run to a 401k. Well, I'm going to put my money where I don't own it. Well, I'm not going to put my money where it doesn't earn compound interest. Why am I going to put my money where if I need it, I got to pay penalties, fees, and interest? No, no. Call me. Let's remove crazy. And most of us just don't know. We're doing the best we can. However, we're going to stop spreading BS that doesn't stand for Bible study. We're going to start loving on our family, humans. We're going to ho'opono on people, and we're going to shift this world to love.
Absolutely. I suggest, I know that you would suggest to all of my listeners that are listening to this beautiful episode with Deborah and Gwen, is really do a self-reflection of yourself. What are the things that you want in life? Don't put limitations on anything that you want. Write it all down and believe that it's already here. Make a difference in your life. When you make a difference in your life, your energy, your abundance, your wealth, your everything is a frequency that can help others. And that could just be walking by somebody in a grocery store and saying hello. I say that all the time because you don't know what that person's going to go through. But our world definitely needs love, Deborah. And I like how you said that, because I know, and I know you know, and it's just so powerful to hear the passion in both of our voices, that when zero limits is out there, it is going to change people's lives, because you're going to hear everybody that was part of this cast, part of this movie, they're going to share their real, raw stories that they went through in their life. And you were one of the main casts that shared some beautiful stories. And I just want to say, I'm so very blessed. I'm so grateful to have you in my life now. And, things come around in circles that you don't even know is in front of you. And that's one other thing I want to say to my audience. Don't focus on the outcome of whatever it is that you want in your life. Right, Deborah? You focus on that outcome, then it blocks the beautiful things to come into your life.
Nancy, what you said in the grocery store, I teach people, and Gwen and I had a class Saturday. When you smile at someone else, even in the grocery store, you're actually building your own immune system up. Remember, if you feel tremendously sad, depressed, force the smile, because the way our divine God, I am, created us, you will shift the chemicals. However, and this is scientifically proven,
yes,
if I'm in a grocery store and this person, man or woman, is down and I smile at them, do you know their frequency immediately comes up?
100%.
However, if there's someone, because we made eye contact, however, if there's someone that's really also having a bad day and they just happen to see me smile at someone else, I actually just forced them to come up. We're energy. That's frequency. We can choose to push it up. And when we push it up in us, I can only feel this so much before I overflow in love. And we're going to overflow this with love. And Nancy, you truly are taking love. You're taking his divine love, the I am's divine love, because you are an I am. You are the divine's I am, Nancy, and you're taking that around the world. So thank you. And I'm honored to know you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, listeners, again. And really quick, where can my audience find you?
Deborah Guerrero.com. I know that's a little difficult one. Hey, but my name does mean I am. At boldrulers.com and awakenthebanker.com. And Deborah at boldrulers.com is the email. But go to any one of those. You're going to have links on there also. I do speaking. I will absolutely come in and shift the area. The gift of healing walks through. However, I don't want to focus on the gift of healing I have, because when I come in, I shift the area to teach you how to walk through the grocery store, and people come up and say, what's going on? Please pray for me. Or we should get to where when we walk, people are healed around us. We don't even need to know the diatribe story, right?
Right.
Just walk in
Absolutely.
love.
Thank you, love.